No tears, no fears. Remember, there's always tomorrow. So what if we have to part? We'll be together again. Your kiss, your smile, our memories I'll treasure forever. So try thinking with your heart, 'cause we'll be together again. Times when I know you'll be lonesome, times when I know you'll be sad. Don't let temptation surround you. Don't let the blues make you bad. Someday, some way, we both have a lifetime before us. For parting is not goodbye, 'cause we'll be together again. You know we'll be together again. Times when I know you'll be lonesome, times when I know you'll be sad. Don't let temptation surround you. Don't let the blues make you bad. Someday, some way, we both have a lifetime before us. 'Cause parting is not goodbye, 'cause we'll be together. Sweet little love. Yeah. I'm acting like I can rap, but I can actually not. We'll be together again, streaming now. That's J3PO on the keyboards and me on piano. What is going on, YouTube? This is me redeeming myself from the last time I went live and used my phone. So anyway, yeah, there was a guy that put in the comments that said, quality upload, mate. Or rather, he probably said, quality upload, bro. I don't know. But anyway, what's going on? So listen, this is the official introduction for my rapid reharm reference, which I just launched. You know, if you have seen it, if you have not, you will see it right now, right here on the screen. This is the cover. You know, we are doing this together, and you know, the plan is to go live here pretty regularly when I get back to Las Vegas in my studio. But I am in South Florida now, looking at the ducks, trying not to get hit by cars. Anyway, tap in where you from. Let me know. My son is watching the chat right now. What's up, Makai? All right. So anyway, listen. Let's get into this. Why did I create this? You know, my YouTube channel so far has been about, you know, reharmonization, composition, you know, chord substitutions, this kind of thing. You know, so 30 years of playing piano has led me to understand that really there's only two types of chords, you know, major or minor. Yes, there are diminished and dominant 7 and you know, minor 7, 9, all that augmented, yes, but the core function of the third, and if this sounds like gibberish to you, if you're a beginner, just stick around. But this is for my high level, you know, advanced, intermediate players. But you know, I learned this from Joe Pass early in my journey, and he talks about in one of his instructional videos about he only wants to know what the third is doing in the chord. Is it major or is it minor? The third. Every other extension after that, you know, is irrelevant, really. So that being said, you know, I love substituting chords on the fly. A great example is, for example, strumming my pain with his finger, singing my life with his word, killing me softly with this song, killing me softly. There's one. With his song, telling my whole life with his word, killing me softly with his song. Right, so you know, when I'm playing that song with a lot of singers, it's always a fun thing, those who are open to it, you know, to allow me to create in there and paint some maybe abstract colors as a rubato intro, and then the whole band starts a song, right? So that being said, you know, the idea of substituting things without changing the core sound of a chord, is really important. It's really important because if a singer decides to, let's say, riff using the notes of a chord, strumming my pain, any of those 3 notes, that's the basic triad. Well, there are options that we can play besides just F minor that allow us to keep F minor intact, right? So that's sort of what this means. You know, every triad has neighbors that change its feeling while retaining its structure. So again, without changing the chord, you can add a different note. Now you get a different feeling, but the chord is still intact. Okay, so this is your cheat sheet for instantly discovering those neighbors, you know. So with a dying Apple Pencil, I'm gonna try to go through this here with you so you can kind of see what it's all about. And I'm running a 7-day sale starting today, 50% off. Normally it's $47. Now it's only $23 for the next 7 days. So if you haven't checked it out, you can see the link here in the chat or in the description, right? So go check that out, see if it's something that might be helpful for you. If not, all good. Keep watching the videos. I'll keep putting up different kinds of things, you know, keep reharmonizing songs. When it gets really fun is when you start to improvising. When you start improvising using these reharmonization concepts, right? So that's kind of one of the use cases for this rapid reharm reference. And if you're shouting it out on social media, as I have done, let's just use 3 R's for rapid reharm reference. So hashtag RRR. That's sort of the official hashtag for this rapid reharm reference that I'm going to be using so that we can just kind of keep track. That's a long name, just like my last name, Cadenhead, is a long name. So C, a lot of people call me CC for short, you know. So anyway, so let's look at this here. C major, right? The C major triad. You have 20 different chords that you can play besides using C in the root here that still keeps C intact, you know. So let's look at this first one here, A minor 7. Now, you know, throughout this guide, you see the color blue here. Wherever you see blue letters, this indicates that all the chords are major. And like on the following page you have minor in red, right? So all of these notes right here, the red notes, these are the notes that make up C minor. And I did that just so you can kind of easily keep track of where the triad is within this these chord substitutions. Okay, so right, and then so let me just quickly give you a tour of the book. So it's you have a major section and we have a minor section. So you have just the chords themselves, the spelling of them, like how the chords are built. And then on the next page, you have actual voicings that I use, you know, professional voicings for each of these chords, because some of these chords are really obscure, like this, for example, this G minor 7, flat 5, flat 9. Hardly does anyone ever use that. However, theoretically, that is a chord that keeps C major intact, but, you know, like for example, what would this be? G flat, A, C, E. You know, it's kind of a strange sound. However, there are use cases for that. And if you want to add a lot of tension, which is what this has, you know, you can use something like that. And again, the purpose for using this guide is to sort of, when you're composing and you're playing, you know, music is all about tension and release, right? So you can use all of these substitutions to create a feeling of tension and then always resolve back to whatever chord that you're, you know, that you're reharmonizing, which in this case would be C. Did my Apple Pencil die? Oh my goodness, of course it did. All right, so can I use my fingers still is the question. I'm using Fourscore here, by the way. That is an iPad app that is very useful, intelligent. I can use my fingers, that's fine. All right, what was I saying? I'm building in public here, let's see. So yeah, let's get back on track here. So tension and release, right? That's kind of what music is made of, the feelings of these different chords. Okay, so you have a whole bunch of, you know, tension chords and that you can always use to set up this release, which is just a regular triad, you know. So that being said, on this second page, the voicings, the minor section, you have the minor voicings. And then this last page here is mainly for like classic, if you play classical piano and you much prefer to read notes, you know, what this is all of these voicings for major and minor sort of combined into the same page so you can just read the actual notation, right? So if you prefer to do that, you can do that. So there's 12 sections for the 12 chromatic notes. So we got D flat, chords, voicings, minor chords, minor voicings, and the notation, D, so on and so forth. E flat, E, you know, all the way up to B, which the musical alphabet ends at B, as we know. So, yeah, and that's the end of the book. Right, so let's go back to C. Okay, and type in the chat what kind of music you play. Do you play piano? Do you play keyboard mainly? you know, let me know. Let me know what's up. And do you think this is cool? Do you think this is whack? Please also let me know. I rely on your feedback to improve anything I'm doing. Ultimately, I'm here to serve you in whatever capacity, whether it's a informational video, whether it's a motivational post, which I do on my Instagram stories. I kind of treat my Instagram stories like a diary of sorts. If I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see something that speaks to me as far as whatever I'm feeling that day, helps me get motivated, I'll share it so I can keep track, and hopefully, you know, maybe someone will also resonate with any of that, right? So however it goes, just let me know how I can better serve you, what sort of videos would be interesting to you. And finally, as a plug, I do teach privately. I teach one-on-one in person, whether Vegas, LA, or Miami when I'm in town, but mainly on Zoom. And all the lessons are recorded. The setup looks similar to this, with the keyboard on the bottom, and you know, all of the lessons are recorded, and I send them to you. We take notes and keep track of our progress. So if that's something you're interested in, you can click the link in the description to study with me one-on-one. You know, you'll have my email. You get access to my text, so you can text me constantly and ask me questions, and you have access to me when you become a student of mine. Okay, so with that out of the way, this is the rapid reharm reference. So let's do an example of a 2-5-1, one of the most common progressions in music, right? So in the key of C, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right up the scale. So 2, 5, 1. 2, 5, 1. So if we do 2, 5, 1, so let's say when we get to the 1, which is C major, we want to play something other than C major, but we want to have the same feel, a sort of structure as C major. Well, I can look at any one of these, going back to what I was saying before about A minor 7, right? Circle this for you. A, C, E, G. So I'm just adding an A. So let's just use that. So 2, 5, instead of 1, C, it'll be A minor 7 now. So 2, 5, and then, you know, interesting sound. What about right below it, which is F major 9? F, A, C, E, G. This is this. So same thing, 2, 5. So I'll do 2, 5, and then F major 9, and then C. What does that sound like? You know, so different feeling right there, but same function of it being resolved. Now, like, how do you use this? That's kind of what we're going over, but instead of going back to, you know, to C and using the A minor or the F major, what if we were to, you know, reverse those? So I just use the voice, different voicing here, different inversion. So instead of root position, I'm just inverting up 1. So, right? Or F now. Okay, that's kind of nice. So those are kind of standard, but what about an obscure one? Like if we were to do this A flat major 7 sharp 5. Again, here's the A flat is the outlier, but C, E, G is pretty standard, right? So if we do 2, 5, 1, but do the A flat instead of the 1, it'll be this. Now that's really tense. That it wants to resolve to you know, so in that case it would be, and then release. You know, so it's like you have all these options, but like, how do you use the options? What's an effective musical way to use the options? Well, think about tension and release. Right? What's another obscure one? What about this B flat 13 sharp 11? Let's analyze what's going on. So obviously we have the C triad right here, but we have B flat, D, F, A flat. What if I were just to play those alone, right? So um, that's a B flat 7 chord, but we're substituting for C major. So if we combine those two, I'm on a little miniature Arturia mini lab as I'm traveling, so I don't have access to all 88 keys, which I much prefer, but you get the idea on this. But how can I, like this? All right, so you know, so that's like so you know, that's a way to use that. Now, this whole time we've been substituting for the 1 chord of the 2-5-1. But what if we wanted to substitute for the 2 actually, which is D minor? So we'll find D minor here in the reference. So we got to go to the D section. All right, here's D right here. So D minor. So we have all these chord options right here. So what if we were to do, you know, this B flat major 7, this second chord here, right? So we got the, again, D minor intact, and we're just adding a B flat. So that's, okay, so let's play this chord, which would be the 2, and then 5-1 in C. All right, so. It's kind of cool. What about the one right below it, which is G minor 9, which is the same thing as before, but now we're just adding G. So that's kind of interesting how, you know, all of these chords are sort of connected in a way. And it's my hope that this guide will sort of teach you how the Legos are put together as far as harmony and chords and how they all relate to one another. Right, so let's play G minor 9 first, and then G, and then C. Right, I mean, that has a specific thing. I don't know of a use case for that right now, but again, you know that it exists, and you have it at your disposal. Right, so, but what's another one? This E flat major 9 sharp 11. Again, here's D minor, and then we just have, you know, E flat, G flat, B flat. And this is actually a typo right here. This should be G. So I'm glad I caught that here with you. I'm going to correct that and upload that. So, but nonetheless, yeah, so let's do this. E flat major 9 sharp 11. Okay, so let's play this and then 5-1. Very, very interesting sound. Right, so you know, all you got to do is like whatever chords are in your song or your progression that you want to find substitutes for, just go to the chords. Like if you have an F minor, like Killing Me Softly, so I'm gonna go find the F minor in here. Okay, E, F minor, right? And then do this, you know, B flat minor 9 right here. Let's see about this. Okay, so we got B flat D. So, strumming my pain with his fingers, which so happens to be the second chord of the song. So in this case, it's as if the 1 doesn't, is as if F minor doesn't exist. So, strumming my pain with his finger. right? Or what about the first one, D minor 7 flat 5, F minor triad. Here's D right here, right? So strumming my pain, interesting, with his finger, you know. But we started here, strumming my pains with a little. So now what if I wanted to substitute this second chord, which is B flat minor? Well, let's go to the B flat section, all the way in the back, B flat minor. Let's just try. I love doing this second chord here, which is G flat major 7, B flat minor right there, which would be, just add a B, G flat, or F sharp in this case, to B flat minor, and we have this. So the first chord was, remember, D minor 7 flat 5, and now G major 7. So, strumming my pain with his finger. Wow, that's really different from strumming my pain with his fingers. You see how cool that is? So, you can just use this to any chord that you have. You can find it, again, whether it's major or minor, as far as your, but you're like, okay, what if there's a diminished chord and I wanted to change that? Like C diminished. Well, what are the notes of C diminished? It's C, E flat, G flat. Now, if you know a bit of theory, you will see that this E flat and G flat is a minor third apart, which means if I were to play E flat in the root, there's E flat minor, right? So if we go to E flat section and find E flat minor, yeah, we can look at this. We can say A flat minor 9. Because look, here's this E flat and G flat from C diminished. And actually the first chord in this E flat section you see is actually C diminished, right? Half diminished in this case, but the first three, notes are C diminished. Okay, so we can now just choose A flat minor instead of, So you can get so much mileage out of this book if you sort of, just look through it and play all the chords and hear the sounds. Use the voicings section to maybe there's voicings in here for these chords that are like maybe this A minor 7 voicing. Yeah, I know A minor 7, but maybe this voicing right here, which is, again, right, if I do it here, right, maybe you haven't used that spread voicing before on an A minor 7. I don't know. So it's kind of like two books in one if you think about it. It's like voicings for all these, you have 20 here and you have 8 here. So it's like 28 voicings for chords that you already know or maybe don't know, so you can get a lot of mileage out of this thing. So let me know, keep up with me, let me know. I'm going to keep this live up. Put it in the comments. I read every single comment while I can, while the channel is still small, unlike Gary Vee, who I think I was watching an interview where he said he gets 10,000 DMs on Instagram a day. How do you respond to that? You can't. But that being said, right now, while we're on the ground floor, I read and respond to every comment. So let me know what's up. Let me know if you... Hello from Sydney, down under. Sorry, I promise to never do that again. I do have a lot of homies from Sydney and from Perth. I've been to the Gold Coast, Byron Bay, and Melbourne is one of my favorite cities in the world. I've been traveling since I was 17 years old, internationally. So been all over, and Australia is definitely one of my favorite countries. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend. So that's kind of it. That's kind of it. Unless you have a question here from Sydney, my plan was to just kind of introduce you to this rapid reharm reference and show you what it's all about and see if it's something that you might find useful or not. But yeah, that's it. Just let me know. Let me know what's useful, what's not, and what kind of videos you want to see on this channel, and we'll go from there. All right. Just a reminder about the private lessons. If you really want to get better, the fastest way to get better is through mentorship, one-on-one coaching. That's just, Chick Corea said that, and I fully agree with that. I take lessons still myself. Lawrence Hobgood is, there's a jazz singer named Kurt Elling, and Lawrence Hobgood is was one of his main collaborators that they got Grammys together and stuff. But anyway, he's one of the most fabulous pianists on the planet living right now, if you ask me. And I study with him every time I go to New York. Michael Gerber is a blind, just prodigy phenom here in Miami, one of Miami's legends, which is where I'm from, and I've studied with him. So, I just want to encourage you, whether it's mentorship, whether it's, being an autodidact, in other words, a self-learner, I just want to encourage you to always be in a constant state of practice. Constant state of practice. Whether you're driving in your car and you're listening to the radio and you're trying to pick out intervals, whatever it might be, I just want you to always, always, always be in a constant state of practice. All right? So stay curious. Think like a scientist. Always try to put together the Rubik's Cube in any area that you're interested in. And that's how you go far and get to where you want to be. All right? I'll see you guys next time. Peace and love, everybody.